What's up, peeps? We're back. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benson. Thank you so much for joining us for our YouTube edition of the AEW Insider. We got the best wrestling news of the week. We're going to cover some AEW, a lot of WWE, and some great random wrestling and sporting news. Remember, if you want to win that Bray Wyatt ringside collectible Firefly Funhouse action figure, you got to stick around to the end of the show to find out how. Well, since this is the AEW Insider, let's kick it off with a little AEW news. AEW. Matt Hardy was involved in a car wreck, but he is okay, thank God. He had this to say about the situation. Today's free advice: don't rubberneck at wrecks or you'll create one. Apparently, there was already a wreck on a road and someone slowed down to take a look that yet caused another collision. He posted a pic of his car that got smashed from behind by another driver. Dr. Britt Baker kicks ass as a heel, not so much as a babyface, and she recently talked about that. She was on Sunday night's main event and had this to say about her babyface run when asked about it. I think it's probably because I'm not a babyface deep down. No, I think there was just a lot of demons at once, and that's the being a dentist and being a pro wrestler. It's super inspiring and it's super successful. I have 2 Plan A careers, but not everybody has that, so not everybody wants to hear that every second of the day. If you ask me, I blame JR. With full-blown respect to JR, he really screwed me, because he said on every single friggin' episode of Dynamite that I was a dentist 100 times. It was so bad to the point that it wasn't cool anymore. In a recent interview with Bleacher Report, Jon Moxley reveals that he used to wrestle while being intoxicated. Mox said, "Oh, 100%. I wouldn't do it now, but back in the younger days, especially in CCW, it was as much as a monthly party as it was a show. When you're doing death matches and crazy stuff, certain things you put in your body can have you in the right mindset. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a good combination sometimes. Sometimes you just need a shot of whiskey to calm your nerves." Moxley also revealed if he still speaks with his former Shield members Rollins and Reigns. Mox said, "Very occasionally. Seth's about to have a kid, so that's cool. You just get in this world and you're really busy, especially in a pandemic world. Everybody's in their own little bubbles." Well, that's a good thing about wrestling. It's never goodbye. It's see you along the way. When you go through certain things with people, you're always bonded. On to WWE. Well, NXT going against Dynamite might be coming to an end very soon. Ringside News reports that WWE NXT might be forced to move from their Wednesday night time slot. NBC Sports Network is closing in 2021. No firm date was given as to when they are closing down completely, but it is happening. The NHL's Wednesday night doubleheader games are likely to cause NXT a problem. They will probably land on the USA Network, and their season might start as NXT's contract expires. Now, WWE finally announced its next 3 WrestleMania locations. This year it will be held in Tampa, next year in Texas, and a year after in Hollywood. We know at Mania time, WWE pulls out all the stops to get legends and big names to appear. Well, John Cena is almost a definite lock to appear at Mania this year. According to WrestleVotes, who initially said WWE was looking for such big ideas, John Cena is nearly a lock for the show of shows. Cena's last match was the cinematic Firefly Funhouse at WrestleMania 36. And that's a lot of reason why you don't see The Rock wrestle on a part-time basis. He has to deal with insurance. Studios have invested a lot of money in him, and those same people care about John Cena staying uninjured as well. Speaking of Cena, he is set to release an inspirational book. It's called Be a Work in Progress and Other Things I Like to Tell My Younger Self. It is available April 6th, and here is the promotional description from Ballantine Books. It is described as a beautifully illustrated book of inspiration from the beloved entertainer and #1 New York Times best-selling author, John Cena. Now back to WrestleMania. WWE says they want to have more people at Mania this year than the Super Bowl will have. The Super Bowl plans on having 15,000 people at their event. WWE wants to do 30,000. They're going to watch the Super Bowl, see how it goes, and if it goes well, they might even have more than 30,000. People are saying, boasting that you're going to have a lot more people at your event during the time of COVID is not really a good look. Just take New Japan, for example. Their Wrestle Kingdom numbers, they actually said that they were lower than they really were. WWE should definitely take some notes from New Japan. Now, I've been reporting on Daniel Bryan that he was very active behind the scenes at WWE. Well, he set his sights on a new WWE developmental territory. You might say to yourself, hey, isn't that the WWE Performance Center and/or NXT? But Bryan would disagree. He said, I definitely don't think NXT is considered a developmental territory anymore, which leaves a question. Do we have a developmental territory? Because we need to develop talent if NXT is not our development, which it isn't. Those guys are awesome, and I do consider NXT a third brand for our company. Now, during a recent interview with Digital Spy, Sheamus commented on the possibility of Conor McGregor coming to WWE, the differences between WWE and the UFC, plus more, on whether Conor McGregor will eventually wrestle for the WWE. Sheamus said he teased coming to WWE a couple times. He's still staying active. He's a lad who's won belts. He's done a lot. So I think he's the type of person always trying to try his hand at something different. I think WWE would suit him down to the ground. You know, we had a lot of people come in and out. Floyd Mayweather came in and a lot of other celebrities, a lot of sports people. So I don't think anyone would raise eyebrows if he came to the WWE. I don't think it's a if, it's a matter of when, to be honest. Now, on a potential match against McGregor, Sheamus said if he wants to come in there with me, that's grand. He might get the fight of his life. He might get a couple of slaps he's not used to. But that's what it's all about, getting in there and seeing a different type of environment. And on the differences between WWE and UFC, Sheamus said, in UFC, you fight once a year, maybe twice a year. In WWE, we're fighting every bloody week. We're taking bumps every week. The physicality we go through, it's just crazy. It's just a different world we're in. I think it's definitely more competitive. It's definitely more physical. It takes more edge being in WWE than it does doing UFC stuff. I'll probably get slated online for saying that, but until you actually do our schedule, you don't realize how tough it is. But as I said, if he wants to come in and give it a hand, I have no bother stepping in the ring with him. Matt Riddle still wants his Mania match with Brock Lesnar. He is pushing and working hard for it behind the scenes. If you ask me, it shouldn't happen for a few more years. He also revealed what word he would like to use instead of bro if he ever turned heel. Riddle said, trust me, I've been thinking about changing it. I might become the rude dude or something like that, or just be like, hey dude, and just call everybody dude all the time. But I already use dude, so we'll see. If I ever turn to a bad guy, maybe I'll do the rude dude. But right now, I'm Riddle, the original bro. He also spoke about who he would like to face at Mania if the match with Brock doesn't happen. Riddle said, right now I think the next guy in line who's the next big thing, I'd say there's two of them. It's Roman Reigns and it's Drew McIntyre. They are the two most groomed and well-prepared full-package superstars on the main roster. And I think a win over either one of them, especially on the grandest stage of them all, it would just catapult me to new levels. So yeah, I think those are the two. And I think if I had to pick one, I'd pick Drew. Because I like Drew. He's a chill guy and he's got a cool Scottish accent. Everybody, I mean everybody, loves what Roman Reigns has been doing since his return. Well, while speaking with Ryan Satin on Fox Sports, Roman Reigns talked about his current character. Reigns then said he always wanted to turn heel after the Shield split up, adding that Seth Rollins should have been the babyface instead. Roman said, I've always wanted to turn heel. I just didn't feel like I should have been the babyface out of the Shield group. We all agreed, we thought it should have been Seth and then keep me as a bad guy. It just happens the way it happens. The numbers lined up the way they did. Things were starting to work for me as a good guy, but then obviously it took a toll here and there. There were some nights with a lot of loud boos. Roman also talked about an ex-WWE star who's now in AEW and gave him props. Reigns said, I will say though, Rusev was really good. We had good timing as far as in the ring. I always had good chemistry with him to where I could come off the ropes, take one step, launch and dart across the ring, and he knew just the perfect height to lift me up and open up for me. So yeah, we did those things all over the world, and they were very good times. Now on to some random wrestling and sporting news. Disco Inferno says that WWE is not booking big angles for pay-per-views anymore because pay-per-views are on the WWE network and they kind of come off like regular shows. Disco said, "You've got to understand though, the way they book these shows ever since they've gone on the network, they're not booking to make $50 or $60 pay-per-view buys. Their shows are just now part of the network subscription. So technically, they're not even pay-per-views anymore. They actually treat them more as shows for people to watch, to leave you on a hook, to watch the show on Monday. It's like they're literally doing another TV show that's viewed as a bigger show in the middle of their programming. So they really don't go balls to the wall in booking angles for these things. They haven't done it in years because, bro, you only get $9.99 and like 95% of the people who have WWE Network watching anyway. That's the way I've always looked at it. I think it's been going like that for years. The effort into drawing big numbers and drawing big money just isn't there. They're just in a holding pattern." Ryback dropped a big hint on what promotion he might be going to. During a recent episode of Ryback TV, the big guy seemingly let the cat out of the bag about his impending arrival on AEW. Nothing has been reported to confirm that he's on the way, but he dropped a very blatant hint. Ryback said, "I'm coming back, and I'm going to the competition, and we're going to kick your ass in the ratings every week." And finally, in his comeback fight last night, Conor McGregor was knocked out by Dustin Poirier. Memes exploded all over the internet when Conor knocked out, and also making big headlines last night was Mike Chandler. He cut a Rick-style promo after his match and said, "Conor McGregor, surprise, surprise, there's a new king in the lightweight division. Dustin Poirier, your time is coming. Khabib, if you ever do see fit to grace us with your presence back here in the UFC Octagon in your quest for 30, you know you gotta beat somebody, so beat me if you can. God bless and see you at the top." Alright, peeps, well that's it for this episode. Remember, if you want to win that Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse ringside collectible action figure, all you have to do is stay right here on YouTube. You subscribe to the AEW Insider. Besides being a subscriber, pick any video, like, share, and comment. So go to the AEW Insider, hit that subscribe button, pick any video, like, share, and comment, and when we hit 500 subs, I will be having a drawing and sending out that Bray Wyatt action figure. Remember to show us some love on all major podcasting platforms, also on Facebook and YouTube under the AEW Insider, and on Twitter under the AEW Insider 1, as in the number 1. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benson. Thank you so much for joining us on the AEW Insider. Ciao, peeps.